one. But yeah, I like to say about 3 generations. But that includes bringing in fresh DNA, obviously, right? So crossbacks, I call them crossbacks. So you breed a gecko to another generation, cross those back, then you take those geckos, cross them back again. That's the 3rd time, and that's usually what I like to recommend maxing out at. They did a study one time with like corn snakes and even reticulated pythons that all live in like the same area, like certain areas in the wild. And because reptiles' DNA is different than humans' DNA, it can handle a lot more inbreeding before there's issues. So like with the corn snake study, they did like 20 generations of inbreeding before there was, and I don't even know if there became an issue, but they studied and did like 20 generations of inbreeding. So, but of course, most of our geckos in captivity have already been bred to a lot of similar projects and lines. So I think you're safe with 3 generations crossing back to itself, and you should be good. All right, water, water, food, food, humid, humid, label, label. We're good. Let me get some more geckos out here for you guys to look into. Oh my gosh, one of these is really big. All right, here's another black knight. Black knight. Look how big this one is. And black knight. And Tremper white and yellow. All right, so here we have 2 Black Knight Mandarins and then 2 Mandarin Tremper Project animals. So let's get some new tubs to set them up in. Let's do 2 at a time here. Be a little easier for me to set up. Be right back. Got to get some paper towels. And on YouTube, I'm going to do a test, but you should be able to hear my voice because my microphone is on me and it should be connected to YouTube. Now, after this live, I do want to grab some dinner before getting back to more work. So what do you guys think I should have? There's Taco Bell, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A. Lately, I've really been loving Taco Bell. I've never been a big Taco Bell guy, but lately I've been loving Taco Bell. What do I like? They call it like, what do they call it? What just happened? It's you see that little guy jumping? There you go. There's that 4th one there. There you go, little one. I was like, I know they didn't get out because this is very high walls. Brazen. Little geckos at this age, so bold. They got the heart of a lion in them. Oh, actually, what I could do with this, let's do this a little bit like that, and then, yeah, there we go. On YouTube can see a little bit better. Astronomical, how's it going? Having a really amazing hot dog shaped like a mealworm. A hot dog shaped like a mealworm. I guess a hot dog does look like a mealworm. Now, hot dog, I loved hot dogs growing up. My first, okay, I'm going to date myself here. I had a AOL screen name before anything. I think it was called AIM. I think that was the first place to like socialize and chat before Facebook, before MySpace. There was like AOL Messenger, right? Which was called AIM or something like that. And my name on AIM was Frank Footer because of the hot dog company. I loved hot dogs. I didn't realize at the time that the hot dog company is named Furter, Furter, right? So my screen name was Frank Footer, Footer. Oh, it's just funny, but that was, wow, that was a long time ago. Okay, let's set up the two. Look at this chunky monkey. This guy was eating all the worms here in the hotel. So these 4 geckos were set up in the same hotel together. And they're all pretty plump. I can see even, ow, bit me. They're all pretty plump. I can see they're good. And different geckos grow at different paces. But you could definitely see this chunky monkey right here. He took the cream of the crop when it came to eating. He took advantage of that a lot. All right, labeling time. So the 2 that I'm setting up right now. Oh, what's up, Sullivan? John Joe? Long time, man. Hope you're doing good. I got Mandarin Inferno Tremper stuff. MAINTR 1119. MAINTR 1119. Actually, let me put these guys on the shelf first. These guys got to go to the shelf. Water, food, humid, food. Everything is good with these guys. Okay. All right, now we got the YouTube chat flowing. So if you guys missed my YouTube apology, I'll fix it before next time, but there is slight connectivity issues with this specific laptop that I'm using, which is crazy because it's a $2,000 laptop. You would think there should not be connectivity issues with that, but you know, sometimes in life, you're left disappointed. Okay, so wait, do these guys need small water bowls? I'll give one of these guys a small water bowl. The other one's pretty big already, so he'll be fine with the normal size water bowl. All right, so these guys, water. Everyone's got water. Water is very important. Setting up babies. Humidity is very important. Setting up babies. So we used to set all of our baby leopard geckos up in groups of 2, and they do great in groups of 2. But then we would have to separate them 2 to 3 months later. So now I just set them up individually. So every gecko is just individual from birth once it comes out of the hotel. So doing well, Frank. Hope you're the same. Wanted to ask if you remember the first video you made that blew up in views. Had my very first 18K short and my jaw dropped. Oh, that's awesome. What short was it? So when I first started making content on YouTube, I did no shorts. A matter of fact, I don't even think shorts were possible to make 6-7 years ago when I first started making long form educational videos. So I think my first video that blew up was probably something to do with breeding, how to breed leopard geckos. And then after that, morphs. I did a lot of morphs videos and people love those, especially just like base morphs, like level 1 base morphs. I made like 5-6 morphs videos, but I think my first one was the best. It was just like the simplest or whatever. So I would say my breeding videos probably blew up first, and then my morphs videos. And now I haven't announced this officially because I don't want to let people down on either side. But if you haven't noticed, I do plan to do more pet content now. So like when I first started my YouTube journey, I was very much into breeding content because I was just starting out as a breeder. I was really excited about breeding, and still I am a breeder at this point right now. But there might come a point in the future where I transition more into like pet tube, pet store, reptile exhibit type stuff. But I love breeding, man. I can't lie. I love breeding. I would say one of the problems with breeding is that not everybody loves to see breeding. So like there's a saying, you don't want to know, let's just use hot dogs since we've been talking about hot dogs. You don't want to know how the hot dog is made, right? Or the sausage or the hamburger, because if you know how it's made, there are going to be some aspects of that process that are probably not attractive, right? The putting down of the animals and all that. Oh, this is a lot of worms and all that kind of stuff. And with breeding, there's a lot of stuff that happens in breeding, right? Males and females can potentially get hurt. Some babies don't make it. You know, there are babies that are born with deformities sometimes. So being a breeder, I've always openly talked about those things and openly shown those things and educated on those things as they came about for me in my life. And then obviously, as you guys know who follow us, sometimes that brings trouble our way, right? Because not everybody, it's disturbing content sometimes, and it doesn't apply to the masses. And so I kind of really, my heart is now leaning in a different direction because I really love the pet side of things, educating pet people, seeing people that are just getting into the hobby and all that kind of stuff, and appealing to that generation and those type of people with my content is becoming more and more important to me instead of like breeding people. Now, I feel like I will always make breeding content, but I might just be more careful with what I show, how I show it. You know, maybe instead of showing things, I'll talk about things. I'll talk about topics instead of showing. But I'm a visual learner, which is one of the reasons why we blew up. And this is what I mean by I don't want to let either side down. One of the reasons why we blew up and a lot of people love us is specifically for the breeding side of things. People, they want to know, how is it done? How do you breed geckos? What do you do when a male hurts a female or a female hurts a male? And so I'll always be here for that, but maybe I'll do less of that content publicly and I'll just talk to people more behind the scenes. So if people have questions on breeding and stuff like that, you know, you can always ask me, number one. But number two, I'm not going to stop making breeding content. I'll probably just be a little bit more careful with like what I show and how I show it and all those kinds of things. But I'm going to do a ton more. I'm going to do a ton more pet centered and focused videos. So if you saw my last video, which was the top 5 cages to keep 40-gallon cages to keep a leopard gecko in, that's kind of the first video in that new direction of appealing to more like beginner pet people, right? And I sell geckos to a lot of pet people, and it's kind of unfortunate that I don't have a lot of pet videos to show them. I have to like show them other people's videos of how to set up a bioactive tank and all that stuff, because I don't do that. I've always been a breeder and I've always made breeder content. So for all of these reasons, I will be making more pet-centered content, and I think it's going to be pretty fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to creating more content that is a little bit more digestible by the masses, right? So that's kind of what I'm going towards. Let me see here. So water, food, humid, gecko, label. All the things I need to check here. All right, let me put a couple more geckos down for y'all while I go put these geckos away. Hi, baby. Baby number 1. Hi, baby. Baby number 2. And that's going to be it for that. I'll be right back. And then it is my dream ultimately one day to have like a reptile exhibit place, and maybe even an animal place, right? Like I like birds, I like fish, I like those kinds of things. So there used to be this store when I was growing up, and I just thought of this last night because the store closed down, and the store was called Animals and Things. And as a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid into my teenage years, it was my favorite place to go. You could ask my dad. If you ever see my dad, he'll be like, yeah, Animals and Things was like Disneyland to my son, to me, right? 11/19. But they closed down. I heard they closed down recently, and this was in New Jersey where I grew up. So I'm thinking, what if I make a place called Animals and Things, and it'll have like a warehouse in the back that has all the tanks and supplies and materials that people need to keep animals, and then the front of the store will be fish, birds, exotic mammals, and then of course my reptiles. So that thought just came to me last night, literally. Because I've been thinking, what would I name my pet store if I ever have one? And that will definitely be a name of consideration. Animals and Things, in commemoration of the place that I loved going to growing up. All right. So here we got these two. We're going to need to set up 2 more things here. Yeah, there's a little bit of screaming sometimes. And if there is lag, it's because my $2,000 laptop is disappointing me. But I'll have it fixed by the next live stream at least. This was a big test, this live stream. Since I'm live on Instagram and YouTube at the same time, this was a big test to kind of troubleshoot and iron out the kinks and all that kind of stuff. And then we're also going to do more live streams that are not cleaning based, but actually like what I call show and tell. So we could show the geckos that are on our website that are for sale, and we could talk about the current deals going on. We could see geckos live. So if you want to see a gecko live from our website, you could just shout out the number and we'll bring it on screen live. So we're going to do a lot more of that stuff heading into the holidays. Yeah. How many old is your oldest living gecko? So the oldest one that I had was probably like 12 years old, but I just sold her as a pet to somebody. And the oldest one that I have now is probably only like 7, 8 years old or so. So yeah, I don't have too many super old geckos. Let's see. These guys are already big. They don't need a small water bowl. I still need to get some recommendations for where to go after I end the live. So Taco Bell, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, Panda Express, What else is around here? Taco Bell. Oh yeah, I forgot to say what I've been loving at Taco Bell is the, what is it called? What is it called? The double crunch wrap or something? It's like a crunchy taco that's wrapped in a soft taco with cheese in between the layers and then chips in there with like lettuce and stuff. It's just good. Oh, Chipotle. I can't go to Chipotle. So if you guys don't remember or you don't know, I almost died for the second time in my life last January. And it was from, as far as we can tell, the poison doctors at the hospital. So let me back up for a second. I was nauseous after eating some Chick-fil-A chicken that was pink. I spit it out. The next morning, I was nauseous, and then I went out of it. I became unresponsive. My family couldn't wake me up. I was just like passed out in bed, like just completely non-responsive. So they took me to the hospital, and in the hospital, I tested negative for viruses. I tested negative for bacteria. And so what the poison specialist thinks that it is or was is he thinks that it was food poisoning from the Chipotle. And then we started researching all the times that people have gotten poisoned from Chipotle. And believe it or not, Chipotle has so many poison cases where people have gotten like seriously hurt or died or close to death. And so me and my wife made a decision, especially my wife. She's like, no, I almost watched you die. I do not want to go through that ever again. No more Chipotle ever. So now we do Cafe Rio, if you know what Cafe Rio is. So, all right. So one of these guys are two different things here. So Mandarin, Inferno, RSWLTR. That's the albino one. And then the other one is, I do have a Fire Pied by me as well. All right, so Giant Blood Bohem, and then Mandarin Inferno, RSWLTR 1119. So the albino one, which is this one right here, is going to be the first one I grab, because that one is albino. And then Giant Blood Bold Emerine, which is what this one is, will be the second one that I grab. Yeah, and what happened was, so when my wife went to get chicken, because prior to this, I always ate chicken. I was always a chicken person. I didn't really like beef much. You know, I like chicken more. Now I don't really eat chicken as much. Man, this one's beautiful. Here's a Bell albino. So you can see a difference. The Bell albinos are a lot pinker, a lot lighter in general. This is a nice eclipse. So you can see the tip of the nose is white. Tip of the nose is white. Nice eclipse. What was I going to say? So when my wife went to pick up the chicken, originally they said, oh, you can't get a chicken burrito because there's no chicken left. We have to cook more. And then apparently a young teenager kid came running up and said, no, we got more chicken. And that was the chicken they gave me. But of course, because that is a really, really tough thing to prove, they denied accountability for that, and we were not able to, pursue anything for that. But the poison specialist doctor at the hospital, he really said it had to be the Chipotle. I've also studied other Chipotle cases, and you tested negative. I tested negative for all viruses, all bacteria. So if it was a virus or a bacterial infection, I would have tested positive. But he said because food poisoning is a mutation of bacteria, it would not show up on our tests. And therefore, in his best view and opinion, he says that it was most likely the Chipotle food poisoning, especially to go along with the fact that there was pink chicken in my food and I ate some by accident and I had some in my mouth. So for all of those reasons, it just kind of really points towards Chipotle, right? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The time has gone. The time has passed. But that's why we don't do Chipotle anymore. I don't know if you know Cafe Rio, but Cafe Rio is really good. None of that for me. Oh, so if you're vegan, which is cool, 100%. I tried being vegan. I couldn't do it. But remember the E. coli breakout a few years back? The E. coli that was on romaine lettuce became 10 times worse than any meat bacterial infection that has ever happened. And so we just had a E. coli. If you looked at the news recently, there was an E. coli breakout again recently. I don't remember if this, if it was linked to vegetation this time, but unfortunately, whether you're on the vegetation side or the meat side, no one is safe because the E. coli, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of bacteria starts with the plants. And if the plants don't get cleaned properly, then the animals that eat them, or something like that, right? Like the animals are pooping where they eat and stuff like that, and it just winds up spreading to both the meat and the plants. So anyway, I don't know too much about that. I've just watched some documentaries and stuff. So I'm just kind of spitting off what I believe I've heard, but it's been a while since I really looked into it. But I know there has been some pretty serious bacteria breakouts because of vegetables, right? Vegetation. So no one's safe nowhere, but scary, man. Scary stuff. All right. Let's get some food going here. Food advice for Chipotle: give geckos worms, not customers. Yes, Alex, yes. Let's see. These guys are big already, so I'm going to give them a decent amount of food. We'll sprinkle a little bit on the floor. Sometimes it's good to sprinkle on the floor just to encourage, even though these guys look like they're already eating very well, but encourage geckos to eat. These are super giant blood radars. Well, one of them's a radar, one of them's a het radar. Oh, well, Eclipse het trimper. Super giant blood radar 1119. So Taco Bell. Taco Bell, I might do taco. Also, there's Little Caesars, which I do like Little Caesars. Sam's Club, let's see. Sam's Club will be closed by the time I get out, but Sam's Club has fantastic pizzas. I do finally have a leopard gecko, which was not planned. Leopard gecko was found in a basement. Oh, so you rescued it. Very cool. I think we need more reptile rescues for sure. Because reptiles a lot of times are so cheap. People buy them from Petco and all that stuff. Life changes. They got to get rid of them. And unfortunately, a lot of them just get left behind and all that kind of stuff. So super giant blood radar. Here's a beautiful one, like I was showing you. Very light, very pink in coloration. Have mealworms RMS ever harm babies that haven't started watching NG yet? What's up, Dragonheart? Sorry, I don't understand the question. Hold on. Can you rephrase that? Have mealworms RMS? What is RMS and what is NG? Maybe it's going over my head. Hi, little baby. See this little one right here? This little one right here? Oh, have mealworms ever harmed babies that haven't started eating yet? So I set, thousands and thousands of babies over the last few years. I set them up with mealworms from day one, and I've never had an issue. So, yeah, I hope that helps, but that's my experience. Now, certain leopard geckos that might be born as runts or something like that, I will give them smaller mealworms, but I will still give all leopard geckos mealworms from day one. Some people start their leopard geckos off with 1/4 inch mealworms, which I think is cool. That's, but I used to start all my babies off with large mealworms, but then because some babies are runty, I would feel more comfortable giving them medium mealworms, and it helps them get started easier. So you'll have a higher success rate of, runty babies growing to be, just growing up and thriving if you start with medium mealworms. And so that's what I do. I start all of our geckos on medium mealworms. And since rainbow mealworms is sold out of large mealworms right now, I just feed everything. Our adults and everything is eating medium. So can you make a video of what benefits magnesion have on leopard geckos? What is magnesion? Sorry. Again, what is that? Oh, magnesium. I use osteoform. I use osteoform as the vitamins, or Vionate as the vitamins, and osteoform as the calcium. Now, Amazon and everywhere is sold out of osteoform right now. So I'm using Reptile with D3 as the calcium. But Vionate for pets, which you can get off Amazon, it has all the vitamins and everything you need. So I can't really say, I've never isolated certain vitamins and tested out the geckos, but I will say this. Over the last 3 years, we've probably produced 3,000 plus geckos, and they've all been on the same diet of mealworms and diet of supplements. And I can tell you, our breeders and all that kind of stuff, they do super, super fantastic on a 3-to-1 ratio of Vionate to osteoform, which is the calcium. And if you're out of osteoform, then use Reptical with D3, and you could still do a 3-to-1 ratio. This is 4 Black Knights. Oh man, I might run out of tubs here. Let's see. With supergiants, what more impressive, length or weight? Well, that's the controversial thing, is that a lot of supergiants are not that much larger than an average gecko, but some of them certainly are. So I think it's a little bit of luck whether you're going to get one that is bigger than the average gecko or whether you're not. But I would say, if we as humans could have our way, I think most people would want length of the gecko, meaning the overall size and length of the gecko, to be the focus of a supergiant. And so with selective breeding and breeding lines of supergiant and all that kind of stuff, there's definitely, let me put it this way. A normal male leopard gecko will be around 90 grams and maybe 10 inches. And a supergiant will be around 100 plus grams. And if you're lucky, 11 inches, right? Maybe 11 and a half. So you're looking at an animal that is like less than 5% larger than a normal. And even then, one of the big controversies of supergiant is that it doesn't seem to be consistent. There's a lot of supergiants that are not bigger than normals, and there's a lot of normals that are much bigger than supergiants. So it appears that like not every giant and supergiant that comes from that lineage is actually larger than a normal gecko. So until genetic testing is provided for us, I think it's a guessing game up to this point. But I would say most people in the hobby right now tend to think that supergiant is what's called line bred, meaning big geckos breeding to other big geckos give you a higher chance to produce big geckos, but not a guarantee to produce big geckos. Ron Tremper recently came out and said that supergiant is recessive. I would say almost nobody agrees with that. I don't know where he got that from. And I'm certainly open to that being true, but I'm just saying I don't think many people give that thought merit right now. And then the original thought of supergiant was that it's incomplete dominant, hence the word super, because you only have supers from a gene that is incomplete dominant. So you can see one of these black knights is in shed here. So we have all our geckos right now in geekygeckocreations.com. We have a 50% off for the end of the year holiday, supply, celebration for everyone who's celebrating holidays. So hope you guys can enjoy that. And I probably have 100 or so geckos that I'm going to add over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then I have obviously more than that I'm going to add after that, but I'm going to try to get at least 100 geckos added over the next 2 weeks. That would be my goal. I don't always meet my goals, but opening a shop in these days of internet shopping seems difficult. It does, but here's the reason reptile shops do well. I'm in Arizona, and there's about 15 reptile stores within a 30-mile radius of the Phoenix area, which is Phoenix is the major city of Arizona. And they all do fairly well from what I understand. And one of the reasons is because people need food for their reptiles. So I would say the majority of money in the reptile hobby is actually made on feeders, because feeders are bought at ultra low prices and they're sold at ultra high prices, and they don't cost anything to maintain, barely, compared to animals, which require caging and lighting and employees and all that kind of stuff. Insects are like nothing. So there is, from what I've gathered, I've never owned a store, but from what I've gathered from store owners, the majority of their profits is coming from feeders. So there are stores that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars a year, just selling crickets. And so as long as you pick an area and a location where there are people who have reptiles, you will sell. Now, the thing is, once people get deeper into the reptile hobby, they find private online suppliers, such as Rainbow Mealworms, Timberline feeders, and they just get feeders shipped to them for a fraction of the cost that the stores are selling them. But in the beginning, people who just start off in the reptile world, they don't know that you could get crickets shipped to you and stuff. So they go to the store and they pay 10 times markup price, right? And I feel like it's a constant revolving door. There's always new people coming in as old people are going out, or as old people are maturing and learning that they could get everything online for cheaper. Right now, we have a 50% off sale. So if you go to geekygeckocreations.com, you'll see prices that are pretty good. So I do wholesale sometimes throughout the year, but right now I am not, because I'm just running fantastic deals on individual geckos, giving people a chance to select breeders or the pet of their dreams for really good prices. So sorry, GGC. That lag is distracting. Good luck if you can fix that. Yeah, I'm sorry. By next stream. If you want to watch us on Instagram, there is no lag on Instagram. So go to Geeky Gecko Creations on Instagram and you can see us on Instagram. But I will have the lag issue fixed for next YouTube live stream. I apologize, guys. I apologize. And then heading into the holidays, I definitely want to do a lot of live streaming, promoting, all that kind of stuff. All right, so we got 4. I got room for 3 right now. So we got 1. We got 2, 3. And we'll leave Mr. Shetty over there for now. 1. Oh, I need to label the morphs on these guys, which is our Obsidian Black Knight project. So Black Knight Afghanicus, which is pretty awesome. So these are Black Knight Afghanicus 2, Black Knight Afghanicus 2, Black Knight Afghanicus 2, Black Knight Afghanicus 2. I'm really hopeful for the Black Knight Afghanicus project. I've been saying it for a while. Afghanicus just makes darker Black Knights than average. And so as this project carries on, I'm really hopeful that it will make more consistent Black Knight animals darker. All right, let's see. There's that. All right, so I got 2 more cases there. And I'm going to need more, but I'll use these 2 cases for now. Have you ever considered a router extender? Well, I might need to consider that. The main problem right now is this laptop, the Wi-Fi reader in this laptop must be going bad because it was happening before I changed to my desktop setup. Now that I have my desktop set up, I don't use this laptop anymore. Even though it's a $2,000 laptop, you would think it would be good. But I have a cheaper, like $200 laptop whose Wi-Fi setting is perfectly fine. So that's what I'm going to use for the next live stream. It's just a slower computer. It takes longer to load. So that's why I use this laptop, this stream. But I totally forgot that this laptop has the Wi-Fi issue. And what I need to do with this laptop is I need to manually connect the cable, the internet cable. I need to manually connect it to this laptop if this is the laptop I want to use. So I might do that next time because this is a faster laptop. It's easier for me to use than the cheaper one, which is an older laptop, and it's just really slow now. But all right, let's see. We got this here, this here. I'm getting hungry, guys. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh. 5, 6, 7, 8 babies to set up. I might need to go eat first because I'm getting hungry and the Wi-Fi is slouching anyways. For the moment, I'll be using a Snake Eye Blazing Blizzard before starting my no albinism giant gecko lines. That's a good plan. there's always fun things to do with leopard geckos, and different people have different directions that wind up being really fun for them. You know, I really like the tangerine, the black knight, the white and yellow, and then of course crosses of all those things. But everyone has different things that they like. Come on, little one. Water, humidity, food. This one is good. Black Knight Afghanicus 2, 11, 19. All right, we got 3 or 4 Black Knights coming now. These are Black Knight Afghanicus Snow and then Black Knight Afghanicus 2. So there's actually 4 geckos in here. Got to be careful. Boom. This one is the Snow. That one right there. And the rest of these are the Black Knight Afghanicus, 2nd generations. And you can see how fast they are too. Baby leopard geckos are speedy. Let's get the Snow one set up because I have one container right here. So, what's your favorite project besides? Honestly, tangerine. Whenever anyone asks what's your favorite gecko morph, it's tangerine. I already know it hands down, at least at this point in time. As much as I love Black Knights, and Black Knights is probably like top 3, top 4 favorites for me, I just love a good Charmander, right? I love a good tangerine. And so tangerine is my current favorite leopard gecko project. Okay, so this is Black Knight Snow, and this is a visual snow. 1119. All right, I'll let you guys watch the Black Knight Afghanicus Generation 2s, and I'm going to go put these guys on the shelf. I need to label this, then I'll be back around. Today is 11/19. I wonder how long Instagram will let you record a video for and post it. It's interesting to think about. All right, so I need 3 for these. And I'm going to have to use some other containers here. All right, I'm going to make these my last 3 before I go get some dinner, come back, and then take care of the rest. I do geckos full time, yes. Now, I also have other species that I work with, such as Tegus. I breed Tegus, I breed ball pythons, and then I have passion species that I currently don't make any income from, like sailfin dragons. But what I actually breed and sell is leopard geckos the most, then ball pythons and Tegus after that. But most people know us for leopard geckos because if you follow us on any of our platforms, that's like the primary content that we've always made. And it's my current favorite reptile. So if somebody asked me, like, if you could only keep one reptile, what would it be? It would 100% be leopard geckos. Charm, what's up, man? It has been a minute. I hope you're okay. It's been a minute. Sorry, I haven't had the time to come by. Yes, it's all okay. And I totally understand, dude. When the type of operation that like most private breeders, right now I'm a private breeder. I don't own a store at this time, right? Most private breeders are taking care of the animals themselves. But if they get big enough, they might hire on some part-time help. However, because it's not like a full-time position, there's oftentimes not oftentimes, I would say most of the time, there's no benefits, official benefits like 401k, all that kind of stuff for the most part. A lot of breeders will just like pay people to come over and just help, right? Because that's the situation, a lot of times you just have to understand that like the people that are coming to help, their lives are going to change. And because they can't rely on you for like a full stable income and stuff, the relationship has to be somewhat flexible. So like I try to be as flexible as I can with everyone that comes to work for us. Whatever time they want to come in, like whatever works for their schedule is good. And then vice versa. It's helpful to the other person because they're at a point in their life where maybe they could just use some extra hours, or maybe they just want to get some animal experience, and it mutually benefits. So I totally know all the people that come work for us. I already know in my mind that their lives are constantly changing. A lot of them are still in school. A lot of them have full-time jobs. A lot of them, there's just so many things going on, and they might not, they might have to stop working on a dime. No 2 weeks notice, none of that. So that's perfectly in line with my expectations already when people come to first start working for us. So you are good, my man. And I was thinking about you the other day. I was wondering how you've been and just making sure that everything's going good for you. But yeah, definitely completely understand. And actually, pretty much like everyone that was working for us like had to stop at the same time, and it was crazy. And then Brooke was hurt. Like Brooke had a broken leg. Tatum was really busy with life, but now Tatum is pretty much back on a daily basis, which is awesome. And it's been helping me a lot get caught up on cleaning and stuff so that I have time for stuff like this, like live streams. And as we get more caught up with cleaning, which we're already catching up a lot, I'll also have more like show and tell live streams. So instead of like watching me clean geckos, you could ask to see any gecko that's for sale on our website, and we'll bring it live on camera. And I'll try to include like Tatum in some of those live streams. Maybe she'll even run some of those live streams just by herself. I don't know, but I'm just saying as we get caught up with cleaning, there'll be more free time for us to like focus on stuff like that. So work's been a roller coaster, so has life. Yeah, man. Well, I'm also here if you ever need just someone to talk to or bounce ideas off of or just vent to, man. I'm here. I like to, try to be friends first for all of the people that work for us, and as supportive as I can. And that's truly one of my heart's passions as well. So totally here for you, man. And in a way, that's kind of like my priority. Of course, the animals have to be a priority, but I also really prioritize the people that work for us and just try to be as supportive emotionally, physically, all that stuff as possible. So here we go. Let me label these guys real quick because life is more. Tiki's Geckos has this shirt where he's like, chill guys, it's just geckos. Because you know how like people get all dramatic in the hobby over all kinds of stuff. But I think one of the things, obviously animal care and well-being is like of the utmost important when you're selling animals. But what a lot of people lose sight of is that we're all humans at the end of the day, and we all got challenges, things that are going on in our lives personally. And so keeping that in mind and keeping people in a human perspective is definitely like what I shoot for, you know? So everyone who comes to work for us, the humanity side of them is just as important as the work side, like what they're actually doing, what they're working for us for. So Black Knight Afghanicus 2. 11. So these are 3 Black Knight Afghanicus 2s. Okay, so I'm gonna put these guys away. So I'll show you to them, and then that's where I'm gonna end the live stream so I could get some dinner, and then I can accomplish some more work after that. Sometimes the geckos, they hug themselves, they hunker down to the paper towel pretty nicely. So, all right, 1, 2, 3. All pretty nice Generation 2 Black Knight Afghanicuses. We have the first ever for sale on our website right now. And it's a little more expensive than traditional Black Knights just because it's the only one in the world and it's the only one that we've released so far. And it's just, I think, a super rare and a good project that I'm really excited to work over the next few seasons and generations. And I think it's going to help us to produce more and more darker Black Knights consistently, right? So like right now, you might get a pitch black Black Knight like 1 out of 10, you know, 2 out of 10 most. But I would like to see that change, you know, with the infusion of Afghanicus DNA. I think we can make that happen. And then it'll also make the DNA more diverse so that it's not like as inbred or anything like that. So, but I'm going to end the live streams there so I can eat. I hope you guys had a good time, and thank you for being patient. This was the first time where I'm live on YouTube as well as Instagram. I know there was some hiccups, there was some bumps, but I will be doing this again more. This was kind of a test, and then feel free to go to our website right now. We have 50% off for the holidays and the end of the year clearance, if you want to put it that way. We got some great deals just to have fun and allow people to get some great geckos for great prices during this time of year and during this season. And then as I get caught up on cleaning with and everything, we'll also do more show and tell live streams where you could join the live stream. You could call out any gecko from our website that you want to see, and we'll bring them on camera, and it's just a great time. So I thank you guys. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, my friends, have a geeky gecko great day. Peace. Bye.